Good morning. Totally just thrown into the reading there because the camera's just started automatically recording. I'm going to read from Living Clean today's chapter. I just want to share with you today I'm 777 days clean. Such an achievement. Wow, it took me 3 years to get 180 days, but now on the 4th attempt I've made it to 777. Right, today's chapter is being of service. The desire to be of service changes our relationship to the world. It's not just in an A that we are loving and giving. We connect to the love that surrounds us by practicing loving actions and being open to receiving the same. Being willing to accept help is a form of giving. It can be uncomfortable to admit a need or to ask for help. When we allow another person to step up and help us, we give them a chance to express their own love and generosity. When we reach out to help, we receive much more than we give. In some places, after the closing prayer at the meetings, NA members say, "Keep coming back." In other places, they say, "Go help someone." Both come from the understanding that when we give and when we allow others to give, we find a connection to a power greater than ourselves. Service is not a position in a committee, it is a posture in the heart. It's a way of life we can practice in all our affairs. It can be as simple as holding a door open or as complicated as helping a loved one in the last stages of life. Our relationship to service and the way we express it changes as our humility deepens. The desire to serve is a manifestation of freedom from self. Anonymity is a key principle in selfless service. When we learn to give selflessly in service to those who suffer and to a power greater than ourselves, we find happiness, purpose and dignity. Whether we give back best in structured service, one-on-one or somewhere in between, being of service is a matter of principle for us. Practicing and teaching principle-based service is both a way we carry the message and a way we receive the gifts that recovery has to offer. Service connects us to the fellowship and helps keep us connected and involved even when we're not at the top of our game. Having a commitment to open the door at a meeting once a week can be the difference between staying involved and slipping away. Early on, service is a way we start to feel useful and wanted. Later on, being of service gives us a reason to keep coming back even when we don't feel like it. The therapeutic value of one addict helping another is a two-way street. It doesn't matter who is doing the giving or the taking. We are all equally entitled to ask and to provide, and wherever we are in the exchange, we benefit. We no longer have to weigh and balance who is getting more or less, whether we are doing enough or being taken for a ride. The truth is, we're all looking for motivation, inspiration, a spark that will catch fire in us. A good meeting, a powerful 12-step call, a convention or camp out can leave us feeling filled up, knowing that just for a moment we were right where we needed to be. That feeling is addictive. Once we know we can feel that good, we want more. We are willing to slog through the hard times because we know if we keep doing it, we're going to feel that complete again. It's not an illusion like it was when we were using. It's the very real understanding that just for today what we do matters to someone. Service changes our relationship to our own lives. We learn to put love and gratitude into action, and when we mobilise our good feelings, they have a way of spreading through all our affairs. We are confronted with our defects and with each other's, and we find a way to work through them. The first time I chaired a committee, I discovered the true meaning of principles before personalities. Boy, did I grow. A member chuckled. In service, we meet others who are passionate about their recovery, and that excitement keeps us energised. For those of us who have always had difficulty fitting in, service can give us something to do and a reason to stay to the end of the meeting, the workshop or the dance. In the meantime, we make the connections that change our lives. We learn about recovery in the process of serving, but also in the margins of the service we do, in the talks while we're setting up or cleaning up for an event, or on the long ride to a service commitment. We make connections with others who are serious about recovery. A member shared, "I've had to close my mouth when I wanted to open it and open my mouth when I wanted to close it. I've had to try doing new things and stop doing old things that are no longer working. I've had to learn to ask for help, to delegate responsibilities, take risks and share. I've had to clean up some disgusting messes, both literal and figurative. Why do I serve? It reinforces all the work I do in the steps." Some of us jump into service with both feet. We involve ourselves in just about every facet of what is going on, only to be rebuffed by members who have different ideas about how things need to be done. Or we make so many commitments that we cannot possibly keep them all, and gradually get overwhelmed and resentful. We get discouraged and withdraw. We go from caring too much to not caring at all and back again. We find ourselves outside the fellowship we love. Looking in, we get lost in self-pity. After all, didn't we give it our best effort? Times like these try the spirits of even our most seasoned members. We may need to step aside from that type of service for a moment and focus on our primary purpose. When we let go of that distraction, our recovery can begin a new chapter. In the meantime, we stay clean and a lot of good can get done. The solution begins in the 10th step. We reflect on our motives in service. Are we trying to force our view of how NA does things on others, or do we truly want to be helpful? Can we step out of ourselves long enough to allow someone else to have a chance sometimes? Our experience gives us knowledge of what has and has not worked. We can share that without trying to control the outcome. When we start taking it all very personally, we might want to consider whether it's time to step back. Knowing when to let go of a point, a decision, or a position takes prayer and practice. Rotation is an important principle in service for our own well-being and for our fellowship as well. Service can be an escape, or it can give us access to new parts of ourselves by allowing skills and interests to surface. When we think we're climbing a ladder, using our position as proof of some kind of success, that's just ego in action. But when we are giving back out of gratitude, selflessly, and with the best interests of the whole at heart, we find that the experience can be as rewarding as it is productive. When we are spiritually awake, we need to be of service, and we have to do the step work to handle it. We find a balance between service inside and outside NA as well. We care for one another in little ways, taking someone to a meeting or bringing a meal to a sick friend. The program allows each of us to find the ways we are most comfortable giving and the ways we are most comfortable asking for help. We confront our limitations, including the limits of our compassion, and learn to be realistic about what we can and cannot do. When we have experience in service, we can be a resource and a mentor for others. We do that in a spirit of humility when we are committed to bringing more members into the process without retaining control. Patience, kindness and trust are key to the process. If we treat others with trust and respect, we are likely to receive it in return. We can lead by example, helping to guide discussion and focus energy without trying to influence the outcome. Participating without seeking the illusion of control sets the model for the rest of our lives. In whatever capacity we find ourselves, we serve NA with dedication and love when we serve with humility. Although we sometimes associate leadership with a lack of humility, for us it's refusing to serve at all that fosters our egoism and impatience. Service is always humbling. We learn to be servants. We walk through all of our ego stuff on the way. When we forget that we are just a small part of a greater whole, we are in trouble. There are some words we use differently in NA than in the rest of the world. When we talk about addiction, for example, we are addressing a spiritual disease that affects all areas of our lives. When we share about sanity, we're not interested in clinical definitions. We look to our own experience for a practical understanding that works for us. And when we talk about leadership in NA, we're not implying that some members have more power or authority than others. Leadership here is about sharing our experience in a spirit of humility and unity. We practice leadership in NA by serving selflessly. Whatever our service, we remember the suffering addict in all that we do, and we practice acceptance, courage and action. Responsibility is one of the most important principles we practice in NA. and service is one of the best ways we learn to practice it. Service keeps us involved with and surrounded by recovery, and it gives us opportunities to practice acceptance as well. By sharing our experience with other addicts, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Seldom do addicts stay clean for long without practicing selfless service in one form or another. NA gives freely, but there's only so much we can simply take from the program. After a while, the rewards are not from what we are given, but from what we give. The real work begins here, and not all of us are up to it. Reaping rewards means we must sow the seeds through action. There is responsibility in recovery, and it begins with taking responsibility for our recovery. Sometimes just being accountable to something is rewarding. For those of us who don't have a lot of experience being responsible, this can be a really good lesson. Others have far too much experience being responsible, and service work teaches us to let go. Flexibility, tolerance and balance are principles we learn to practice as we serve. We learn to practice unity even when it's uncomfortable, and we get to exercise our courage. All my life I felt less than, a member shared. A stranger would frown at me and I would have a bad day. Service helps me feel worthy. Wow, that really spoke to me. It really puts your thoughts into perspective, thoughts and feelings. It is quite a tumultuous journey in recovery, but yeah, it's completely worth it. And just for today, don't pick up no matter what, no drink, no drug, no anything. Thanks for listening.